It's not surprising that the RX 6500 XT is a notoriously bad piece of kit, with only a lackluster 4GB of VRAM and dwindling performance. But does adding another 4GB of VRAM help the 6500 XT in any way? Or does it fight fire with, well, fire? Spoiler alert, it doesn't help. So let's talk about it. Now I didn't have the normal 6500 XT to compare for you today, but given that the 8GB version is literally the same as the 4GB version, just with an extra 4GB of VRAM jerry-rigged onto it, it doesn't really matter. What's interesting to note is that we could only find one 6500 XT 8GB, which is the one that we have here, which doesn't bode well for availability, I guess. As for the other GPUs we compared today, well, they all have far superior specs, at least on paper, in terms of cores, TMUs, and especially memory bus. Even the old dusty 1050 Ti had a greater memory bus than the 6500 XT 8GB, which honestly is quite embarrassing to say the least. However, clock speeds are respectable, as RDNA 2 tends to have, but what really matters here is the pricing. And the 8GB model is priced at around $190 USD, which is $20 more expensive than the standard 4GB model. And the same can be said about the RTX 3050 6GB. So you're paying $20 more than a 6GB 3050 and a standard 6500 XT to only get an extra 4GB of VRAM, which on paper doesn't sound that much, but at these lower price ranges, every penny counts. Now, considering used GPUs such as the GTX 1660 6GB, the 1650 Super, and the 1050 Ti, they provide much better value overall when considering the used market. That is, if you can find them, so your mileage may vary. But there are two GPUs that I would much prefer, the RK750 and the 6650 XT, which are only in a hair's breadth of the 6500 XT 8GB pricing, and I suspect it will provide much better performance. The A750 of which only costs $200 US, and the 6650 XT at around $220 US, which of course gets you that 8GB of VRAM anyway. We'll let you decide. In Cyberpunk at Ultra settings 1080p, the 6500 XT 8GB, well, it already falls short of the cheaper, when used of course, 1660, but did have slightly higher lows. The 3050 6GB is literally right behind it, following the 1650 Super and 1050 Ti, so it's not a great start. At the same time, the A750 and 6650 XT are just leagues ahead and are a night and day difference for not that much more money. Like, let's be real. Forza Horizon 5 at extreme settings with TAA enabled now, and the 6500 XT 8GB leads the lower end cards in average FPS. However, the lows are within a hair's length of the 3050 6GB and 1660. Again, not looking good for the 6500 XT 8GB. And I bet if we had the standard 6500 XT, you would not be able to tell the difference, given how the 1650 Super is performing. In Rainbow Six Siege, a bit more of a competitive title this time around, at ultra settings with no anti-aliasing, there's a staggeringly small difference between the lower end cards, although the lows are a little subdued on the 6500 XT 8GB compared to the 3050 6GB and 1660. That said, the A750 and especially the 6650 XT provide otherworldly performance here. Shadow of the Tomb Raider at the highest preset with TAA shows the 1660 ever so slightly beating the 6500 XT 8GB in lows, but at the same time the 6500 XT slightly outpace the 1660 in average FPS. That said, all the lower end cards are pretty similar in performance here, and judging by how the 1650 Super is performing, it doesn't bode well for the 6500 XT. Looking at averages now, the 6500 XT 8GB beat the 3050 6GB by only 6%, the 1660 by only 2%, and all the while the A750 and 6650 XT, well, they're pulling ahead by 43 to 80%. Which just says it all about the 6500 XT 8GB performance, which is disappointing. It kind of reminds me of the 7600 XT. Double the VRAM, but nothing to justify it having additional VRAM. Performance per dollar, well, needs no saying at this point, as the 6500 XT 8GB is simply a terrible value. Even worse than the 3050 6GB. So technically, the 3050 6GB isn't the worst value, despite what some say, but it's not a great value either. The 1660 and surprisingly the 1050 Ti will provide heaps better value when considering the used market. But for the best new GPU, the 6650 XT is the obvious choice. Here is running rings around the 6500 XT 8GB for again arguably not that much more. Now, power consumption is not really a cause for concern, as most of these cards are sub 100 watts in power draw, except obviously the 6650 XT and A750, the A750 of which draws quite a lot more due to it being first generation hardware on Intel's side. We also quickly touched on efficiency with the 6650 XT taking the crown, while the 3050 takes the second place, followed by the venerable 6500 XT 8GB. The older generation cards are the least efficient, well obviously. The real concern should be the pricing here though. Now in ray tracing at 1080p, not that you should be ray tracing with these GPUs, let's be honest. In Cyberpunk at the Ultra Ray Tracing preset, the 6500 XT 8GB finally succumbs to the 3050 6GB, revealing its hidden ray tracing prowess. Well of course the 1660 hangs at the lower end of the chart since it's not really ray tracing due to its lack of hardware, as it uses software rendering techniques instead, meaning that you definitely shouldn't be ray tracing on the 1660. That said, the 6650 XT and A750 as usual provide a much better experience here. Now in Shadow of the Tomb Raider at the highest settings, with ray tracing set to Ultra and with TEA, the 3050 takes the helm over the 6500 XT 8GB, while the 6650 XT and A750 flex their far superior performance in this instance once again. Averages revealed that the 3050 6GB eclipses the 6500 XT 8GB by 16%, while at the same time the venerable 6650 XT and A750 outpace it by 81 and 82% respectively. When we look at value when it comes to ray tracing, sadly the 6500 XT 8GB cannot keep up. Even the 1660 was a better value when ray tracing. Again, not that you should be buying a 1660 for ray tracing. And the A750 and 6650 XT, like usual, are just heaps better here. Again, power consumption, even when ray tracing, is not a cause for concern, although the 3050 seems to be particularly thrifty when ray tracing compared to the 6500 XT 8GB, which is something to keep in mind. And of course this holds up for its relative efficiency, with the 1660 undoubtedly being the least efficient. Now when we take a look at Forza Horizon 5 once again, this time comparing upscalers and setting them all to balance, the 6500 XT 8GB surprisingly outpaces the 3050 6GB with DLSS 2, all thanks to FSR 2. FSR 2 definitely has this work cut out for it, as the 1660 is right behind them, even when upscaling. The 6650 XT and A750 are again leagues better here. Now when we look at the results for Cyberpunk now, thanks to Nvidia's excellent ray tracing and DLSS 2, I guess, the 3050 6GB is right behind the 6650 XT, with the 3050 aptly flaunting the 6500 XT 8GB and spitting on its grade. The A750 though was actually quite surprising here as well. Can the 6500 XT 8GB redeem itself in benchmarks? I doubt it, but let's see. In Blender, thanks to CUDA, the 3050 lands toe to toe with this much more expensive 6650 XT, while the 6500 XT is hanging out with the good old 1660. The A750 once again shows surprising performance here. Now spec view per performance is particularly a strong suit for AMD, at least in Maya, and the 6500 XT 8GB goes without showing, as it beats all the lower end cards. At the same time, it loses to the 1660 in both SolidWorks and 3ds Max, as goes for the 3050 6GB and even the 1650 Super. The 6650 XT stomps on all of these cards in Maya and SolidWorks. In PutureBench for Premiere Pro, due to the 6500 XT 8GB's lack of encoders, it hangs out with the 1050 Ti at the lower end of the chart, but it's not like the 3050, even though it has encoders, is much better, and same goes for the 1660. This is because encoding performance is not the only concern, but also 3D rendering performance, which aids in color correction and affects heavy things within Premiere Pro. Each have their own strengths and weaknesses, which sort of balance out. The A750 provides an astonishing lead here, which honestly I wasn't expecting. Given that After Effects is mostly motion graphics and effect heavy, the 6500 XT 8GB finally leaves the confines of the 1050 Ti, beating the 1650 Super, but the 3050 6GB and 1660 do slap the 6500 XT 8GB in the face, with the 6650 XT in front. Now let's turn over to some overclocking now, shall we? On our Power Color 6500 XT 8GB, in the AMD Adrenalin software, we bumped the minimum frequency to 2675 MHz, the max frequency to 2975 MHz, lowered the voltage a bit to 1125 mV, set our memory frequency to 2400 MHz, enabled fast timing, and last but not least, increased our power limit by 15%. What did all this mean, I hear you ask? We ran Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p at the Ultra preset to find out, and well, we only got about a 7% increase in average FPS, with our lows barely increasing just within a few frames. Not the worst overclock we've seen, but not a great one either. Looking at our power consumption before and after overclocking, while we only saw a 7% increase in average frames, power consumption only increased by around 6%, so it's not an alarming increase in power consumption, which of course is to be expected given this card. We ran a 10-minute torture test in MSI Combustor, and it seems like our temperature, when looking at the hotspot, only increased by a mere 5% on average during the 10-minute test before and after overclocking. In conclusion, the 6500 XT 8GB, well, it falls short in both rasterization and ray tracing performance. failing to justify its price tag compared to its competitors. With lackluster benchmarks across various tests and minimal gains from overclocking, it struggles to offer a compelling value proposition. Ultimately, there are better options available in both the new and used GPU markets, such as the aforementioned A750 and 6650 XT, which will provide superior performance at similar or slightly higher price points. So if you're in the market for a new GPU, it's worth looking elsewhere. Anyways guys, that's all for today. Make sure to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also make sure to check out this video where we compared 8GB to 16GB of VRAM. It's definitely an interesting video, go check it out.